So finally people are getting the message. It's a three-way Democratic primary, not a two-way primary. I'm the independent candidate. I'm describing myself as a common sense Democrat. I have never held public office before. I am a member of the board Democratic Committee in the city of Providence. That's the Elmhurst neighborhood. Some people call it the P.C. Rick neighborhood. But despite my age, I'm the new guy. All right, I'm the new kid in the campaign. I'm running as an independent Democrat, common sense Democrat. I have a few simple common sense principles that some of the Tea Party folks I've been dealing with over the last few months seem to appreciate more than some of the Democrats that I've been dealing with. One common sense principle: you can't spend more money than you have, and I think this government's done that. The Congress has done that. They spent almost $2 trillion on two bills that most people didn't want, most congressmen didn't read, and that's something that's got to be rectified, and I'm willing to do that. I think the health care bill and the stimulus were ill-considered. They don't have the kind of popular support for those kinds of bills. The stimulus hasn't created the jobs it were supposed to do, and I'm the one Democrat who favors redoing the health care bill in the next Congress. Whether Republicans have a majority or not, I don't know, but that health care bill has to be redone. It means starting from scratch, we'll start from scratch. If we can change what's there, we'll change what's there, but it won't fly this way. There's not the money for it. It includes things that most American people didn't bargain for, and we're just finding out now. Premiums are going up. Billions of dollars are coming out of Medicare. There's mandates that states can't afford or people can't afford or don't want in some cases. There's rationing. Despite what they say, abortion is going to be covered. The executive order is not going to prevent that from happening, we believe. So the health care bill and the stimulus are going to be redone. And if that puts me in odds with my fellow Democrats, I'm willing to deal with that. Secondly, I think you got to keep your promises. That's a simple idea. I didn't know that was a right-wing or left-wing idea. It's just a simple idea. You say you're going to govern in a post-partisan, post-racial, transparent way. You've got to keep the promise. I don't think the Democratic hierarchy, the President and the Speaker, have done that. I don't think they've created a post-racial, bipartisan, transparent legislative process, and that has to change. If you say you're pro-life, and you get supported by pro-life groups, and you go to Congress, you've got to keep your vow, keep your word. You can't change your way halfway through the course of your career, and I think people have to hold, we have to hold their feet to the fire on those kinds of issues. The immigration reform. When candidates, you all know this by now, when a politician tells you I'm for comprehensive immigration reform, we know what that means, right? That means that we're not going to do anything to enforce the immigration laws unless you all first agree that everybody here can stay. And unfortunately, President Obama's position is identical to George W. Bush's position on this, right? You know, George W. Bush used to say, whenever he said we got to have comprehensive immigration reform, and they wouldn't do anything until they could get that amnesty through. My opponents say they're not for amnesty; they're for half the citizenship. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Permanent residency for 12 to 20 million people. For most folks, is an amnesty. You might have to wait a year or two longer to apply for citizenship, but everything else, housing, jobs, health care, et cetera, plus affirmative action, which is going to push some people ahead of the line. So it's really not very honest, I think, to say that you're not for amnesty, you're simply for half the citizenship. I teach Mexican politics in Mexico every year. Here's I'm going to lose 1,000 votes. I'm a professor at Roger Williams University. Is that going to lose many votes? I don't know. I teach Latin American and comparative politics. I like Mexico. I like Colombia. I like Venezuela. I've worked in those places. I travel in those places. I obey all the laws when I'm there. I show my documents all the time. Usually a person who wants to see my documents is a young man with an automatic weapon. And I say, yes, sir, no, sir, please. I never think of telling the guy once that I'm a citizen of the world and I don't believe in borders. I obey all the laws. I love Hispanics. I don't like the fact that they say people are anti-Hispanic if they favor immigration enforcement. But we have to have laws. We have to have a secure border and internal enforcement, and that means the employer sanctions that we said we were going to have 24 years ago and never, ever, ever, ever did. So enforcement first. Perhaps I would favor a temporary guest worker program for some of the folks who are already here. But the emphasis on the word temporary, go through a security check and indicate you're going to go back in a year or two, etc. But permanent residency, while we say we're going to work on the border, like we've been saying for 20 years, or we say we're going to deal with employers like we've been saying, no one believes that anymore, and I won't support that. So be aware of that phrase, comprehensive immigration reform. And There was a fourth point that I wanted to tell you, and it's just escaped me, but I'm senile. I can't remember these things.
It'll come back.
Anybody will have it?
Oh, yeah.
It'll
come up with a word.
If people want to have time for questions, they can ask me. But those are this. You can see the debates. You can see that. I get two kind of comments when they. You sound a little like a Republican. Some people say. And in some issues, I think we're going to govern from the center in the next Congress, and we're going to have to work with centrist Republicans. I'm not on the left. I confess. So I'm centrist. The other thing people tell me is I like what you say 100%. But if you get to Washington, you're going to do whatever the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. I'm almost 60 years old. I'm not planning a 30-year career. I'm not going to start ingratiating myself with the hierarchy so I can move up the food chain. I say what I mean what I say. If the leadership doesn't like me, the worst they could do is fund an opponent in the next primary 2 years from now. I don't have any money now in this primary, and my support is all volunteers. So to say you're going to withhold money from me if I don't toe the party line, that's not going to be a sanction. I know people don't trust politicians a lot. I've learned it the same way. You can't trust people. But that's what I am. I've got some literature here. You can check it out. You can contact me if you want to get more involved in the campaign, and I won't take more of your time.